Miss Neesa Johnson kicked off this series last month by encouraging us to start this new year by clearing out the old from last year and applying the medicine from 2021 as needed. She's returning this month to pick up where we left off and help us learn more about how to be present in this month and year. Ms. Johnson comes to us with a dynamic and diverse career in wellness that exceeds 35 years of experience. She practices as a somatic integrationist through Asian body work techniques, hypnosis, and spiritual counseling. And she's graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Occupational Therapy with a focus in pediatrics and alternative medicine. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Neesa Johnson back to the NCNW stage.
Thank you, Kayla, for that introduction. Welcome, everyone, to the wellness series that we're doing this evening. It's a pleasure to be here. Last session we had, Lindsay Morton was the moderator, and I want to thank her again for moderating last time, and Sister Mathis for being here tonight, even though we're having a little technical difficulty on her end. So we'll go ahead and start. Last session was an introduction where Lindsay Morton and I had a conversation around my background and questions about meditation, questions about hypnosis, and a little information about what it means to do a meditative practice and how that actually generates health. One of the things that we covered last time was how breathing is the way that we access our neurology. We are basically wired to search in the external environment for things that are dangerous or ways to keep ourselves safe. And then our brain organizes those things so that we have certainty or predictability about our safety and our satisfaction in our lives. So then we also have an internal barometer that goes as well for when we feel arousal states as one of the ways in which to look at emotions. And I like the word arousal state because in any of the emotions where you term them as negative or positive, you are aroused by either an internal stimulus or an external stimulus. So that's what the arousal state means. So what meditation does, what breath technique does, is it helps you to access a tool in your own body. This tool has to do with your breath. So there's different senses that we have in our body, and we use our eyes, our ears, our smell, our taste, and touch. And that's how we explore the external world and get some of our data, or most of our data that we get. And then we have an internal barometer as well. So with those different barometers, our system, if we get aroused into a state where we are afraid or in danger, that activates our sympathetic nervous system, our fight, flight, freeze system. And that system's response is to raise your blood pressure, speed up your respiration, your breathing pattern, and then push blood to your arms and legs so you can fight or get away. When we're in chronic stress, our body doesn't know the difference between perceived danger or actual danger in the environment. So it's just wired to keep us safe and to keep us satisfied. When I say satisfied, I mean things like when you're hungry or when you're thirsty, knowing to feed yourself, knowing to take water in so that you can quench those things because we need those things to live, correct? So those kinds of arousal states of being thirsty or hungry are in your parasympathetic system, your rest, digest, restore. That's when you feel calmer, you have more clarity of thought, and your body is putting its resources to those things of resting, digesting, and restoring. And that's the system that we tap into with meditation. And we tap into it with our breath. So your breath has muscles that operate the inhalation and the exhalation to get the air in the body and get the air out of the body. And those muscles are the ones you find in between your ribs, called your intercostals, or your diaphragm, which is your muscle of breath also. It's interesting with breath because breath is one of these automatic responses in life. We know if we stop breathing, we don't live. But it's actually one of these responses that we have that are essential to life that we can control. And this is what we're doing when we're using meditation or doing breath work, is we're learning to control that breath to switch us out of the fight, fight, freeze arena and put ourselves into the rest, digest, restore. So the last time we got together, the last session last month, I introduced a couple of breathing patterns that help with anxiety. I mentioned a moment ago about stress. So stress is one of those arousal states that we actually have to have. We don't want to completely get rid of stress because stress is a thing that keeps us going and motivates us. Also, stress that happens in our body occurs when we are aroused in certain ways, like getting excited. And we all enjoy, maybe if you enjoy sports or seeing family and friends accomplish something, we get excited. That's an arousal state. That creates a little bit of stress in your life. Uh, Deadlines do. Um, Running creates stress in your life. Some of your exercise programs, it creates a little generative stress. But those types of activities are what we need in our body. We actually need a little stress to survive. But what we don't need is the chronic stress, the stress that is underlying heart disease and other types of things like depression or anxiety. So one of the things that happens in the two breaths that we learned the last session were to interrupt the whole idea of being anxious. So there's been some great research done, and then there's techniques uh, discovered in yogis. So it's been around for thousands of years of doing these breath techniques, one of which actually people who train to be Navy